The abandoned boarding pass materializes from the printer at 3:47 a.m., 13 years to the minute after Flight 447 was supposed to depart. Terminal D sits in darkness, power cut since 2018. Yet somehow, impossibly, the machine hums to life long. Enough to spit out a single ticket bearing the name Marcus Chun, a passenger who vanished into the Pacific Ocean over a decade ago. Elena Vasquez jolts awake to her phone buzzing against the nightstand. The caller ID shows lack security, never a good sign at this ungodly hour. She's been head of airport investigations for 8 years, but nothing has prepared her for what Officer Rodriguez tells her through the crackling connection. "Ma'am, you need to see this. Terminal D, Gate 47, and bring your flashlight." Elena rolls out of bed, her bare feet hitting the cold hardwood. Through her bedroom window, the sprawling lights of Los Angeles stretch endlessly, but somewhere out there in the darkness, something impossible has just happened. She pulls on yesterday's clothes and grabs her keys, mind already racing through logical explanations that she knows won't satisfy the dread pooling in her stomach. The drive to Lax takes 23 minutes through empty streets. Rodriguez meets her at the security checkpoint, his usually steady hands trembling as he swipes his badge. He's worked graveyard shifts for 15 years. Elena has never seen him rattled. "Power's been out in Terminal D for 6 years, he says, leading her through the maze of darkened corridors, scheduled for demolition next month. But at 3:47, double quotes, he stops walking, turns to face her. "Elena, I heard that printer fire up clear from the other end of the terminal. Sounded like a ghost." They reach Gate 47, and Rodriguez's flashlight beam cuts through the darkness to illuminate an old departure board, frozen on flights from 2011. Below it, an ancient printer sits silent now, but a single boarding pass lies in its output tray. Like an accusation, Elena approaches carefully, pulling on latex gloves before lifting the paper. The print is crisp, the ink still wet. Flight 447 to Honolulu, September 15, 2011. Seat 23A, Marcus Chun. "This is impossible," she whispers, but even as the words leave her mouth, she's remembering the case that haunted her predecessor. 37 passengers boarded a charter flight for a family reunion in Hawaii. The plane took off on schedule, but never reached its destination. No wreckage was ever found. No bodies recovered. The families were left with nothing but questions and a gaping hole where their loved ones used to be. Rodriguez leans closer, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "There's more. Check the seat number." Elena's blood turns to ice. She knows that seat number. Marcus Chen was traveling with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. They'd been separated during boarding due to overbooking, a detail that made headlines, because it meant a father and daughter spent their final moments apart. Lily had been moved to seat 23A. "The manifest showed Marcus in 12B, Elena says slowly. "This ticket, it's for Lily's seat." A sound echoes through the terminal, metal groaning somewhere in the darkness. Both Elena and Rodriguez freeze, listening. The noise comes again, rhythmic like footsteps on metal stairs. "Maintenance crew?" Rodriguez suggests, but his hand moves instinctively to his radio. Elena shakes her head. Maintenance doesn't have access after hours, and they sure as hell don't have power in this section. She pockets the boarding pass, her mind spinning. "Through protocols, we need to contact the families. All of them. After 13 years? Elena, think about what you're saying. These people have grieved, moved on, rebuilt their lives. You want to rip open old wounds because of a piece of paper?" The footsteps grow closer. Elena can hear them clearly now, measured, deliberate, coming from the direction of the departure lounge. She grabs Rodriguez's arm, pulling him back toward the main corridor. "That piece of paper shouldn't exist," she hisses. "The printer has no power. The terminal has been sealed for years. And yet somehow, at the exact time Flight 447 was supposed to depart 13 years ago, it prints a boarding pass for a dead passenger in a seat that wasn't originally his. They reach the security checkpoint, but Elena can't shake the feeling they're being watched. The darkness behind them seems to pulse with invisible presence. Rodriguez seals the terminal access, his movements sharp with nervous energy. "What's our next move?" he asks. Elena stares at the boarding pass through the evidence bag. In the harsh fluorescent light of the security office, it looks even more impossible. The paper is airport standard, the font correct. Even the gate number matches the original flight records. But there's something else, a faint smell clinging to the paper that wasn't there before. Salt water. She holds the bag closer to the light, and her breath catches. Along the bottom edge of the boarding pass, barely visible, is what looks like a phone number written in pencil. The digits are smudged but legible. She recognizes the area code. It's local to Los Angeles. "Rodriguez," she says quietly, "I need you to pull the original passenger manifest for Flight 447. Every name, every contact number, every emergency contact. Cross-reference them with this number." As Rodriguez heads to his computer, Elena's phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "Gate 47. Midnight tomorrow. Come alone." They're trying to come home. Elena stares at the text message until the screen dims, her reflection ghosting over the words. The number matches exactly. The penciled digits on the boarding pass and the mysterious text are from the same source. She screenshots the message. Before it can somehow vanish like everything else about this case seems prone to doing. Rodriguez returns with a thick file folder, the kind that exists only in physical form, because the case predates the airport's digital archives. He spreads the papers across his desk, and Elena sees the careful handwriting of Detective Morgan. Reeves, her predecessor who'd worked Flight 447 until his retirement in 2018. 37 passengers, Rodriguez reads. "But look at this. There are notes in the margins." Elena leans closer. Reeves had annotated the manifest with painstaking detail. Next to Marcus Chun's name, he'd written, "Estranged from family. Last-minute booking, paid cash." Below that, in different ink, "Daughter's custody disputed. Ex-wife claims Marcus planned to disappear." "What custody dispute?" Elena asks. Rodriguez flips through the pages until he finds the family interview transcripts. Here, Sandra Chun, the ex-wife. She told investigators that Marcus had been acting strangely in the weeks before the flight, liquidating assets, closing bank accounts. She thought he was planning to take Lily and vanish. Elena's phone buzzes again. Another text. Sandra Chun lied about the custody. Ask her about the life insurance. The words hit Elena like ice water. She grabs Rodriguez's shoulder. "Pull up Sandra Chun's current address. Now." "Elena, it's 4:30 in the morning. We can't just show up at someone's house because of anonymous texts." But Elena is already heading for the door. The text came from the same number written on that boarding pass. Someone knows what happened to Flight 447, and they're trying to tell us. We need to move before they change their mind. The drive to Sandra Chun's house takes them through the pre-dawn quiet of Torrance, past strip malls and sleeping neighborhoods. Elena's mind races through the implications. If Marcus Chun had been planning to disappear with his daughter, why board a legitimate flight? Why risk commercial aviation when a man with his resources could have chartered something private, untraceable? Sandra Chun lives in a modest 2-story house with a well-maintained garden and a Honda Civic in the driveway. Elena rings the doorbell, Rodriguez shifting nervously beside her. After several minutes, a porch light flicks on. The woman who opens the door is in her 50s, wearing a bathrobe and an expression of barely controlled panic. Elena recognizes her from the old case photos, though 13 years have carved new lines around her eyes. Sandra Chun, I'm Elena Vasquez with LAC Security. This is Officer Rodriguez. We need to ask you some questions about your ex-husband Marcus and your daughter Lily. Sandra's face goes white. She grips the doorframe so tightly her knuckles show bone. What's happened? Why are you here? May we come in? Sandra hesitates, her eyes darting between Elena and Rodriguez as if calculating escape routes. Finally, she steps aside. The living room is neat but sterile, with no family photos visible, unusual for someone who lost a child. Mrs. Chen, Elena begins carefully. 13 years ago, you told investigators that Marcus was acting strangely before the flight, that you believed he was planning to disappear with Lily. That's right. Sandra's voice is barely above a whisper. But you never mentioned a life insurance policy. The effect is immediate. Sandra's careful composure crumbles, and she collapses into an armchair, her face buried in her hands. How did you? Nobody knew about that except who? Sandra looks up, tears streaming down her cheeks. Marcus took out a policy on Lily 3 months before the flight. $2 million. He said it was for her college fund, but the beneficiary. She trails off, unable to finish. Rodriguez leans forward. Who was the beneficiary, Mrs. Chun? Me. Marcus made me the beneficiary, but I never collected. I couldn't. Even when the lawyers said Lily was legally dead after 7 years, I couldn't take that money. Elena feels the pieces shifting, forming a picture she doesn't like. Where is the money now? Still sitting in an escrow account. I've never touched. Sandra wipes her eyes with a tissue. You have to understand, I loved my daughter. Whatever Marcus was planning, whatever happened on that plane, I never wanted any part of it. Elena's phone buzzes. Another text. Check the pilot's logbook. Marcus Chun wasn't the only one planning to disappear. Elena shows the message to Sandra, whose face goes even paler. Do you recognize this number? Sandra nods slowly. It's Lily's phone. The number Marcus got for her right before the trip. But that's impossible. The phone went down with the plane. Mrs. Chun, I need you to think very carefully. In the days before the flight, did Marcus mention anyone else? Another passenger, maybe? Someone he might have been working with? Sandra closes her eyes, concentrating. There was a man. He came to the house once while I was picking up some of Lily's things. Marcus introduced him as Uncle Ray, but Lily had never mentioned an uncle before. When I asked Marcus about him later, he said it was just a friend from work. What did this Uncle Ray look like? Tall, maybe 60 years old, gray hair, expensive suit. He had this way of watching people, like he was calculating something. And his hands. Sandra shudders. His hands were covered in scars, like burn marks. Elena and Rodriguez exchange glances. Elena pulls up the Flight 447 manifest on her phone, scrolling through the names. Was his last name anything like Raymond Torres? Sandra's eyes widen. That could be it. Torres, yes. Elena's blood runs cold. Raymond Torres had been listed as a business consultant from Phoenix, traveling alone. According to the manifest, he'd been seated in 1-2A directly across the aisle from Marcus Chun's assigned seat. Rodriguez's radio crackles to life. All units, we have a situation at LAX Terminal D. Someone has restored power to Gate 47. Repeat, Terminal D is showing active electrical systems. Elena grabs Rodriguez's arm. We need to go, now. As they head for the door, Sandra calls out, Wait, there's something else. The night before the flight, Lily called me. She was crying, said she didn't want to go to Hawaii. She said Uncle Ray gave her something to hold for Daddy, and it scared her. What kind of something? A small metal box. She said it was heavy and made a ticking sound. Elena's heart stops. Mrs. Chun, did you report this to the investigators? Sandra shakes her head, fresh tears falling. I thought it was just a toy, maybe a music box. I didn't think. Oh God, I didn't think it could be important. Elena's hands shake as she starts the car. In the passenger seat, Rodriguez is already radioing for backup, but his words sound distant and hollow. A ticking metal box. Given to an 8-year-old girl by a man with scarred hands. The implications crash over Elena like ice water. Jesus Christ, Rodriguez mutters, ending his radio call. Elena, if that box was what I think it was, don't. Elena's voice cuts sharp through the pre-dawn air. Don't say it. Not yet. But the thought hangs between them anyway, heavy and horrible. A bomb. Someone had given Lily Chun a bomb to carry on to Flight 447, disguised as a gift from Uncle Ray. The innocence of it, using a child as an unwitting courier, makes Elena's stomach clench with rage. Her phone buzzes with another text. The pilot knew. Check his final transmission. Elena floors the accelerator, weaving through the empty streets toward Lax. Rodriguez, I need you to contact air traffic control. Get me the audio files from Flight 447's departure. Every transmission, every communication with the tower. Those files will be archived with the NTSB, not a TC. It'll take hours to get clearance. Then call the NTSB. Wake someone up. Tell them we have new evidence in the Flight 447 case. As they approach the airport, Elena can see something that makes her blood freeze. Terminal D, which has sat dark and abandoned for 6 years, is blazing with light. Every window glows against the black sky like a beacon, and she can hear the distant hum of electrical systems that shouldn't exist. They park at the security perimeter, where 3 patrol cars have already assembled. Elena recognizes Sergeant Martinez, a 20-year veteran who's seen everything Lax can throw at him. His face is grim as he approaches. Elena, we've got a problem. The power grid shows Terminal D drawing electricity, but the building was physically disconnected from the main system in 2018. There's no way it should be operational. Elena looks up at the terminal, its windows casting strange shadows across the tarmac. Any sign of people inside? That's the weird part. Motion sensors are picking up movement, but it's inconsistent. Like someone's there 1 minute, gone the next. Rodriguez checks his weapon, muscle memory from his patrol days. Could be squatters. Homeless population has been growing around the airport. But Elena knows it's not squatters. The timing is too precise. The symbolism too deliberate. Someone wants them to find something in Terminal D, and they're using the anniversary of Flight 447's disappearance to send their message. Martinez, I need your team to establish a perimeter, but stay back. Nobody enters the terminal without my authorization. Elena's phone rings. The caller ID shows unknown, but she recognizes the number. It's the same one from the boarding pass and the texts. She answers on speaker. Elena Vasquez. The voice that responds makes her blood turn to ice. It's a child's voice, young and frightened, speaking through what sounds like heavy static. Miss Elena, this is Lily Chun, I need help. Rodriguez grabs Elena's arm, his eyes wide with disbelief. Elena forces her voice to remain steady. Lily, where are you, honey? I'm at the gate. Gate 47. Uncle Ray said I have to wait here until Daddy comes back. But I'm scared. The box keeps making noise, and there are other people here who look sad. Elena's mind races. This is impossible. Lily Chun has been dead for 13 years. But the voice sounds real, immediate, terrified in a way that no recording could capture. Lily, can you tell me about the other people? What do they look like? They're all from the airplane. Mrs. Rodriguez from 8B, she keeps crying. And Mr. Williams, he keeps checking his watch like he's late for something. They're all here. But something's wrong with them. They look see-through sometimes. Elena feels the world tilt around her. Mrs. Rodriguez had been traveling to her daughter's wedding in Honolulu. Mr. Williams was a businessman who'd been checking his watch obsessively in the gate area before boarding. She remembers reading that detail in Detective Reeves' notes. "Lily, I'm coming to get you, okay? But I need you to do something for me. I need you to move away from that box Uncle Ray gave you. Can you do that?" The line crackles with interference. "I tried, but it follows me. And Uncle Ray said if I let go of it, something bad will happen to Daddy." Elena closes her eyes, thinking fast. "Honey, where is your daddy right now?" "He's talking to the pilot. They keep looking at papers and arguing." Daddy looks scared too. Through the phone, Elena can hear other voices in the background, adult conversations, the sound of gate announcements, all the ambient noise of a busy airport terminal. But Terminal D has been empty for years. Rodriguez is frantically taking notes, trying to make sense of what they're hearing. He scribbles a question and shows it to Elena. "Ask about the pilot's name. Lily, can you tell me the pilot's name? The one your daddy is talking to?" "Captain Morrison. He keeps saying something about changing the flight plan and buying us more time. But Uncle Ray doesn't like it. He's getting angry." Elena's hands begin to tremble. Captain James Morrison had been the pilot of Flight 447. According to the investigation, his final transmission to air traffic control had been routine. LAX control. Flight 447 requesting clearance to climb to 35,000 feet. But if Lily is telling the truth, there had been conflict in the cockpit, arguments about the flight plan. "Lily, I need you to listen to me very carefully. I'm coming to help you, but you need to stay on the phone with me. Don't hang up, no matter what Uncle Ray or anyone else tells you. Can you promise me that?" The line goes silent for a long moment. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "Miss Elena? I think Uncle Ray knows you're listening. He's looking at me funny, and the box is ticking faster now." The call cuts to static, then silence. Elena stares at her phone, her heart hammering against her ribs. Around her, the assembled officers wait for orders, but she can barely think through the implications of what she's just heard. If somehow, impossibly, the passengers of Flight 447 are trapped in Terminal D, then they're not just dealing with a cold case. They're dealing with 37 people who have been waiting 13 years to come home. Martinez approaches cautiously. "Elena, what's the call?" Elena looks up at Terminal D, its windows still blazing with impossible light. Somewhere inside, a little girl is holding a bomb, waiting for her father to come back, surrounded by followed by the ghosts of passengers from a flight that vanished into the Pacific Ocean 13 years ago. "We're going in," she says quietly. "But first, I need someone to contact the families, all 37 families. Tell them there's been a development in the Flight 447 case, and they need to be available for questioning." Rodriguez stares at her. "Elena, you can't be serious. You're talking about calling people in the middle of the night to tell them their dead relatives might be what? Alive? Ghosts? Stuck in some kind of supernatural airport limbo?" Elena pockets her phone and checks her weapon. "I'm talking about finding out what really happened to Flight 447. And if that means walking into the impossible, then that's what we do." Elena stands at the entrance to Terminal D, her hand hovering over the door handle that shouldn't turn, leading into a building that shouldn't have power. Behind her, Rodriguez and Martinez maintain a cautious distance, their radios crackling with confused chatter from the command post. The door opens easily, and Elena steps into impossibility. The terminal thrums with life, the familiar sounds of departure announcements, rolling luggage, and muffled conversations echo through corridors that have been silent for 6 years. The air smells of coffee and jet fuel, exactly as it should, in an active terminal. But something is wrong with the quality of light, too bright and too cold, casting shadows that seem to move independently of their sources. Elena's radio crackles. "Base to Elena, we're showing massive power fluctuations across the entire airport grid. Whatever's happening in Terminal D, it's affecting our main electrical systems. She keys her radio carefully. Copy that. Maintain perimeter and monitor communications. As Alina moves deeper into the terminal, she passes gate after gate, all displaying departure information from September 15, 2011. Date 23 shows a flight to Denver that left 13 years ago. Gate 31 displays a red-eye to Chicago that landed before Elena's daughter was born. But it's Gate 47 that draws her forward like a magnet. The departure lounge is exactly as it would have been that night, passengers seated in blue vinyl chairs. Some reading newspapers with headlines from 2011, others staring at boarding passes or checking their phones. Elena recognizes faces from the case files. Mrs. Rodriguez in her wedding guest dress, still clutching a wrapped gift. Mr. Williams, obsessively checking a watch that shows 11:47 p.m., frozen at the moment of departure. And there, in the corner, near the windows overlooking the tarmac, sits Lily Chun. The little girl looks exactly as she did in the family photos, 8 years old, wearing a purple sweater and clutching a small metal box that pulses with an ominous red light. Her dark hair falls in careful braids, and when she looks up at Elena, her eyes are filled with a wisdom no child should possess. "Miss Elena," Lily says, her voice carrying clearly across the departure lounge despite the ambient noise. "I knew you would come." Elena approaches slowly, her heart hammering. The other passengers don't seem to notice her presence. They continue their endless waiting, trapped in the moments before a flight that never reached its destination. "Lily, honey, I'm here to help you. Can you tell me about the box?" Lily holds up the device, and Elena's blood runs cold. It's not a bomb, it's something far more sophisticated. The metal casing is covered in symbols she doesn't recognize, and the red light pulses in a rhythm that matches Elena's heartbeat. Wires snake from the box to disappear into the terminal's walls, as if the device has somehow integrated itself with the building's infrastructure. "Uncle Ray said it would bring everyone back," Lily explains. "He said Daddy made a deal, and this was the payment. But something went wrong on the airplane, and we got stuck." Elena sits carefully in the chair next to Lily, fighting every instinct that screams this is impossible. "What kind of deal did your daddy make?" "I don't understand." "All of it," Lily says, her small fingers tracing the box's surface. "But Uncle Ray works for people who needed something moved. Something important. Daddy was supposed to help, but when we got on the airplane, Captain Morrison figured it out." Through the departure lounge's windows, Elena can see a plane sitting. At the gate, a Boeing 737 with Sunset Airlines painted on its fuselage. The aircraft that should have been scrapped or sold years ago sits under impossible floodlights, its engines silent, but somehow expectant. Elena's phone buzzes with a text from Rodriguez. NTSB files came through. Captain Morrison's final transmission wasn't routine. He was reporting a hijacking in progress. Elena's hands shake as she reads the message. "Lily, what happened after Captain Morrison figured it out?" Lily's expression grows darker, older. "He tried to change where we were going. Uncle Ray got very angry. There was yelling in the cockpit, and then..." She pauses, pressing the box closer to her chest. "Then everything got bright and loud, and when it stopped, we were here." Elena's radio crackles with Rodriguez's voice. "Elena, we're getting reports of similar power anomalies at airports across the country. Phoenix, Denver, Chicago, all. The destinations that were listed on Terminal D's departure board tonight." The implications hit Elena like a physical blow. This isn't just about Flight 447. It's about something much larger. A network of connected events spanning multiple cities and 13 years of cover-up. "Lily, I need to talk to your daddy. Can you tell me where he is?" Lily points toward the jetway leading to the aircraft. "He's on the plane with Captain Morrison and Uncle Ray. They're still arguing about the deal. But Miss Elena... Her voice drops to a whisper. I don't think they know they're dead. Elena stands, her legs unsteady. What do you mean? The airplane crashed, Lily says matter-of-factly. We all died in the ocean. But Uncle Ray's box, it caught our souls before we could go to heaven. He said his bosses needed us to finish the job first. Elena's vision blurs as the enormity of what she's hearing sinks in. What job, honey? Lily looks up at her with eyes that hold depths no child should possess. We're supposed to collect the other planes, all of them. Uncle Ray says there have been lots of accidents over the years, planes that went missing with special cargo. We're gathering them all in one place. Elena's phone rings. The caller ID shows Captain Morrison. With trembling fingers she answers, "Hello?" The voice that responds is calm, professional, with the measured tone of a seasoned pilot. "Ms. Vasquez, this is Captain James Morrison. I understand you've been speaking with young Lily. I need you to board the aircraft immediately. We have a situation that requires your immediate attention." Elena looks at Lily, who nods encouragingly. "He's nice," the little girl says. "He's been trying to protect us from Uncle Ray." Elena stands, every instinct screaming danger, but she knows she has no choice. Somewhere on that impossible aircraft, Marcus Chun is trapped in an argument that has been going on for 13 years, and 36 other souls are waiting for someone to finally understand what happened to them. "I'm coming, Captain," she says into the phone. As Elena walks toward the jetway, Lily calls out behind her, "Miss Elena? When you see Daddy, tell him I forgive him. Tell him the box wasn't his fault." Elena pauses at the entrance to the jetway, looking back at the little girl who has been holding a supernatural device for 13 years, keeping 37 souls tethered to a world they no longer belong to. "Lily, what happens if you let go of the box?" Lily's smile is sad and knowing. "Then we finally get to go home. But Uncle Ray says his bosses won't let us leave until the job is done." Elena steps into the jetway, and the door seals behind her. With a sound like a coffin closing, the jetway stretches impossibly long, its walls pulsing with the same red light that emanates from Lily's box. Elena's footsteps echo with a hollow metallic ring that seems to reverberate through dimensions. She can't comprehend. The air grows thicker with each step, charged with an energy that makes her skin crawl and her hair stand on end. At the aircraft door, she pauses. The Boeing 737 should be a familiar sight. She's walked through countless planes during security inspections. But this aircraft feels different, older somehow, as if it exists in multiple times simultaneously. The seat fabric shows wear patterns from passengers who died 13 years ago, yet the overhead bins gleam as if freshly installed. Elena steps aboard and immediately hears the voices from the cockpit. 3 men locked in an argument that has been raging for over a decade. "You can't keep us here forever, Torres." Captain Morrison's voice carries the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. "These people have families waiting for them." "The family stopped waiting years ago," comes another voice, rougher. "Older, Uncle Ray. They've moved on, had memorial services, collected insurance money. We're already dead to them." A third voice, younger and desperate. "I never agreed to this. You said it would be a simple transport job. You never mentioned souls or supernatural devices or trapping children for 13 years. Marcus Chun. Elena recognizes his voice. From the voicemails he'd left for Sandra in the weeks before the flight, messages that had been played during the original investigation. Elena moves carefully down the aisle, passing rows of passengers frozen in various states of distress. Some read magazines that crumble to dust at her glance. Others stare out windows that show not the LAX tarmac, but endless ocean stretching to horizons that bend impossibly upward. At row 12, she stops. The seats are empty, 12A and 12B, where Raymond Torres and Marcus Chun had been assigned. But bloodstains mark the upholstery, And Elena notices something that makes her stomach clench. Children's drawings scattered on the floor. Crayon sketches of airplanes falling from the sky. Ms. Vasquez. Captain Morrison's voice comes from the cockpit, no longer filtered through her phone. Please join us, we have much to discuss. Elena approaches the cockpit door, which stands open despite regulations that should have kept it sealed. Inside, she finds 3 men locked in a tableau of eternal conflict. Captain James Morrison sits in the pilot's seat, his uniform crisp but translucent, as if he's slowly fading from existence. His hands rest on controls that flicker between modern digital displays and analog gauges from decades past. Marcus Chun occupies the jump seat, his face haggard with 13 years of regret. In his hands, he holds a thick manila folder filled with documents that seem to shift and change as Elena watches. And standing behind them both, his scarred hands gripping the back of Morrison's seat, is Raymond Torres, Uncle Ray. He's exactly as Sandra described, tall, gray-haired, expensively dressed. But his eyes hold depths of malice that no human gaze should contain. "Welcome aboard Flight 447, Torres says, his voice carrying an accent Elena can't place. "You're just in time for the final boarding call." Elena forces her voice to remain steady. "What do you want?" Morrison turns in his seat, his expression filled with a weary sadness. "Ms. Vasquez, 13 years ago, I made a mistake. I allowed this flight to depart despite knowing something was wrong. I thought I could handle whatever situation arose during the flight. I was wrong." Marcus Chun looks up from his documents, and Elena sees that his eyes are filled with tears that never fall. "I needed money," he says simply. "Sandra and I were divorcing, and the legal fees were destroying me. I was going to lose custody of Lily anyway. When Torres approached me with his offer... What kind of offer?" Elena asks. Torres smiles, revealing teeth that seem too sharp. "Simple transport services. Marcus here had a pilot's license, though he worked in accounting. I needed someone who understood both flight procedures and financial transactions. The cargo was specialized." Elena looks around the cockpit, noting details that don't belong on a commercial aircraft. Wires snake through panels that should contain standard navigation equipment. Strange symbols are etched into surfaces that should be smooth metal. And everywhere, that pulsing red light that seems to sync with her heartbeat. "What cargo?" Morrison answers, his voice heavy with regret. "Souls, Ms. Vasquez. Torres works for entities that harvest human souls for purposes I still don't fully understand. They've been causing aircraft accidents for decades, collecting passengers for some larger design." Elena's phone buzzes with another text from Rodriguez. "Elena, we're tracking 17 missing aircraft from the past 30 years. All carried unusual cargo or had mysterious passengers. All disappeared without trace." She shows the message to Morrison, who nods grimly. Flight 447 was supposed to be routine. Transport Torres and his device to Hawaii, where it would be transferred to another aircraft heading to Asia. But when I realized what the device actually did. "You tried to change course," Elena finishes. "I declared an emergency, tried to return to LAX, but Torres activated the device mid-flight. It was designed to harvest souls during moments of extreme trauma. Aircraft accidents provide perfect conditions. The fear, the helplessness, the sudden transition between life and death." Marcus Chun clutches his documents tighter. "The device worked too well. Instead of just collecting our souls for Torres's masters, it trapped us in this limbo. We've been reliving the moments before the crash for 13 years, waiting for someone to understand what really happened." Torres's expression darkens. "And now Ms. Vasquez will help us complete our mission. The device has grown stronger during our confinement. It can now reach across time and space, gathering the souls from other missing flights. We have work to finish." Elena backs toward the cockpit door, but it slams shut before she can reach it. The aircraft shudders, and through the windows, she can see other planes materializing on the tarmac, aircraft from different eras, different airlines, all bearing the marks of mysterious disappearances. Flight 19 from 1945, Torres says. Following her gaze, Malaysia Airlines 370, Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra. So many souls, all waiting to serve a greater purpose. Morrison grips his controls tighter. Elena, the device that Lily is holding, it's the key to everything. If you can convince her to destroy it, all of us can finally move on. But Torres's masters won't allow that to happen willingly. Elena's radio crackles with panicked voices from the command post. Elena, we're reading massive electromagnetic disturbances. Every missing aircraft case from the past century is showing active. Radar returns. It's like they're all coming back at once. Through the cockpit windows, Elena can see more planes arriving, ghost aircraft materializing from decades of unsolved disappearances. Each one carries passengers who should have died years ago, souls trapped by devices similar to the one Lily holds. Torres moves closer, his scarred hands reaching for Elena. You have a choice, Ms. Vasquez. Help us gather the remaining flights, and you can leave with your life. Refuse, and join our eternal crew. Elena's hand moves to her weapon, but she knows bullets won't help against whatever Torres has become. Instead, she keys her radio. Rodriguez, I need you to contact every family member of every missing flight. Tell them to come to LAX immediately. Tell them they're loved. Ones are trying to come home. Torres's eyes widen with rage. You have no idea what forces you're dealing with. Elena meets his gaze steadily. Maybe not. But I know that Lily Chun has been waiting 13 years for someone to help her let go. And I'm not leaving this plane without her. The aircraft shudders as more ghost planes materialize on the tarmac, their landing lights cutting through the impossible darkness. Elena watches through the cockpit windows as decades of aviation mysteries take physical form. A Douglas DC-3 from 1947, its propellers spinning silently. A sleek corporate jet that vanished over the Bermuda Triangle in 1987. Aircraft that exist in official records only as unsolved disappearances. Torres raises his scarred hands, and the red light throughout the plane intensifies. You've accelerated the timeline, Ms. Vasquez. My masters are no longer content to wait. Elena's radio explodes with chatter from the command post. Elena, we have vehicles approaching from all directions. Families, media, federal agents. Everyone's converging on LAX simultaneously. And the power grid is failing across the entire city. Through the chaos of radio traffic, Elena hears Rodriguez's voice. Elena, Sandra Chun is here. She's asking to speak with you directly. Elena keys her radio carefully, aware that Torres is listening to every word. Put her through. Sandra's voice comes through clear but strained. Elena, I lied to you earlier about the insurance money. I did collect it, but not for myself. I've been using it to fund private investigations into missing aircraft. I knew Marcus wasn't the only one. Morrison turns in his pilot's seat, his translucent form flickering with renewed energy. Elena, if Sandra has been tracking other disappearances, she might have information about Torres's network. Elena speaks into her radio. Sandra, I need you to access whatever files you have. Look for connections between missing flights, common passengers, similar routes, anything that links them together. Torres moves closer, his presence making the air itself feel colder. She won't find anything useful. We've been very careful to cover our tracks. But Marcus Chun suddenly looks up from his documents, hope flickering in his eyes. Elena, the papers Torres gave me, they're not just financial records. They're shipping manifests. He's been moving the soul harvesting devices between airports for decades. Elena grabs the documents from Marcus's hands, ignoring Torres's snarl of rage. The papers are covered in dates, flight numbers, and passenger names, a network of supernatural trafficking that spans continents and decades. Her radio crackles. Elena, we're getting reports from Phoenix, Denver, and Chicago. The airports. They are experiencing similar phenomena, ghost planes appearing, power fluctuations, families reporting calls from dead relatives. Elena studies the manifests, her heart racing as patterns emerge. Torres, you didn't just target random flights. You specifically chose aircraft-carrying families, didn't you? Children traveling with parents, couples on honeymoons, people whose disappearances would generate maximum emotional trauma. Torres's smile is cold and predatory. Trauma amplifies the soul harvesting process. Fear and love combined create the purest energy. Children are particularly valuable because their souls haven't been corrupted by adult skepticism. Morrison grips his controls tighter, and Elena can see him fighting against whatever supernatural forces keep him trapped in the cockpit. Elena, the other planes on the tarmac, their passengers are all connected to these devices. If we can find a way to destroy the network simultaneously. Elena's phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Gate 47. Tell Lily her mommy is here. Elena's blood runs cold. Sandra's at gate 47. Torres's expression shifts to one of cruel satisfaction. I told you my masters were no longer content to wait. They're accelerating the harvest. Elena pushes past Torres and Marcus, running toward the aircraft door. Behind her, she can hear Morrison shouting, Elena, don't let them take Sandra. They need living souls to anchor the dead ones. The jetway seems even longer now, stretching impossibly as Elena runs through it. She can hear Lily's voice echoing from the departure lounge. Mommy? Mommy, is that really you? Elena bursts through the terminal door to find a scene that defies comprehension. The departure lounge is now packed with people, not just the original Flight 447 passengers, but hundreds of souls from decades of missing aircraft. They fill every seat, stand in every available space, their translucent forms overlapping and flickering like old film. Footage, and in the center of it all, Sandra Chun kneels before her daughter, tears streaming down her face as she reaches for the little girl who has been dead for 13 years. Lily, baby, I'm so sorry, Sandra whispers. I should have protected you. I should have stopped your father from taking you on that plane. Lily looks up at her mother, the soul-harvesting device still clutched in her small hands. Mommy, Uncle Ray says you can stay with us now. Forever. We don't have to be apart anymore. Around them, other reunions are taking place. Elena recognizes faces from missing persons, reports spanning decades, passengers greeting family members who have aged while their loved ones remained frozen in time. But something is wrong with the living people. Sandra's skin has taken on a translucent quality, and Elena can see her life force being slowly drained by proximity to the supernatural devices scattered throughout the terminal. Elena's radio crackles with Rodriguez's panicked voice. Elena, the families are collapsing. Everyone who entered Terminal D is showing signs of life force depletion. We need medical teams, but they can't get close to the building. Elena draws her weapon, knowing it's useless but needing the comfort of familiar weight in her hands. Sandra, you need to get away from Lily. The device is killing you. Sandra looks up, her eyes already showing the glassy quality of the dead. Passengers around her. I don't care. I've been dead inside for 13 years anyway. At least now I can be with my daughter. Torres's voice echoes through the terminal's PA system. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for choosing to fly with US Today. We are now beginning our final boarding process. All souls, living and dead, please prepare for departure to your eternal destination. The ghost planes on the tarmac begin to move, their engines starting with sounds that vibrate through dimensions. Elena can't comprehend. Through the terminal windows, she can see passengers boarding aircraft that shouldn't exist. Souls walking up jetways that lead to planes from every era of aviation history. Elena's phone rings. The caller ID shows Detective Morgan Reeves, her predecessor who retired years ago. She answers desperately. "Reeves? Elena." The old detective's voice is calm, familiar. "I've been monitoring the situation from the outside. Listen carefully. You have maybe 10 minutes before the harvest is complete. Every soul in that terminal, living or dead, will be transported to whatever realm Torres's masters inhabit. How do I stop it? The original device, the one Lily is holding, it's the master control. But it can only be destroyed by someone who's already dead, someone who can touch it without being drained of life force." Elena looks around the terminal at hundreds of trapped souls, then back at Lily, who sits with her mother while clutching the device that has kept them all in supernatural bondage for 13 years. "Reeves, how do I convince a dead 8-year-old to destroy the only thing that's kept her connected to her mother?" The line goes silent for a long moment. Then, "Elena, you don't convince her. You give her a choice between love and freedom. And you trust that a child's heart knows the difference." Elena approaches Lily and Sandra carefully, stepping through a crowd of souls that part like smoke before her. The air grows thicker with each step, charged with supernatural energy that makes her teeth ache and her vision blur. Around them, the terminal pulses with red light as more families complete their impossible reunions. "Lily," Elena says softly, kneeling beside the little girl, "I need to talk to you about the box." Lily looks up, her child's face bearing the weight of 13 years of impossible responsibility. "I know what you're going to say, Miss Elena. You want me to let go of it. But if I do, Mommy will disappear again." Sandra reaches out with hands that are growing more translucent by the minute. "Baby, it's okay. I'm here now. We can be together." Elena's heart breaks as she watches Sandra's life force being slowly drained by the very reunion she's dreamed of for over a decade. Through her radio, she can hear Rodriguez coordinating medical teams that can't get close enough to help. "Lily, can you tell me what Uncle Ray promised your daddy? The real reason he agreed to help." Lily's grip tightens on the device. "Uncle Ray said Daddy owed bad people money. Lots of money. If Daddy didn't help with the airplane job, the bad people would hurt me and Mommy." Elena glances at Marcus's documents, still clutched in her hand. Now she understands. Marcus Chun hadn't been motivated by greed, but by desperation to protect his family. Torres had leveraged a father's love to create the perfect, unwitting accomplice. "But the job went wrong," Elena continues gently. "Captain Morrison tried to stop it. Uncle Ray got very angry," Lily nods. "He said the crash would happen anyway, but now it would hurt more people. He pressed a button on his box and everything got bright and loud, and then we were here." Elena's radio crackles. "Elena, we're tracking similar situations at 12 airports worldwide now. Whatever's happening at LAX is spreading. We have reports of ghost planes appearing in London, Tokyo, São Paulo. Torres's voice booms through the terminal PA. "Final call for Flight 447 to Eternity. All passengers must board immediately." The ghost planes on the tarmac begin taxiing toward runways that shouldn't exist, their navigation lights cutting through darkness that seems to swallow light itself. Elena can see passengers boarding, souls from decades of missing flights, all finally ready for their final departure. But as Elena watches, she notices something that makes her blood run cold. The passengers aren't boarding willingly. Shadowy figures, Torres's masters, she realizes, are herding them onto the planes with supernatural force. What she thought were reunions are actually harvesting operations, collecting souls that have been trapped for decades. "Lily, look at the planes," Elena says urgently. "Really look at them. Are the people boarding because they want to, or because they have to. Lily turns toward the windows, her child's intuition cutting through the supernatural deception that has fooled the adults. Her eyes widen with understanding. They're scared, Miss Elena. They don't want to go on those planes. Sandra, her form now barely solid, squeezes her daughter's hand. Lily, baby, what do you mean? The people getting on the airplanes, they're not happy. They're crying. And the shadow men are pushing them. Lily's voice grows stronger, more certain. Uncle Ray lead. He said we were going home, but we're not going home at all. Elena's phone buzzes with a text from Detective Reeves. Elena, the master device isn't just a soul harvester, it's a beacon. Torres's masters have been using it to gather souls from across time and space for something much larger. You need to see the bigger picture. Elena looks around the terminal with new understanding. This isn't just about Flight 447, or even the missing planes gathered on the tarmac. This is about every soul that has ever been lost in mysterious circumstances, collected and stored for some cosmic purpose she can't comprehend. Lily, what happens if you destroy the box? Lily considers this carefully, her small fingers tracing the device's pulsing surface. Uncle Ray says everyone will disappear forever. But Captain Morrison says we'll finally be free to go where we're supposed to go. Through the terminal windows, Elena can see more aircraft materializing, not just missing planes, but vessels from throughout history. Ships that vanished in the Bermuda Triangle, spacecraft that disappeared during missions, even covered wagons from the frontier era, all carrying souls that were harvested during moments of transition between life and death. Elena's radio crackles with Rodriguez's voice. Elena, we're getting readings of temporal distortions. Time itself is becoming unstable around Lax. If this continues, it could affect the entire western United States. Sandra looks at her daughter with eyes that hold 13 years of accumulated love and loss. Lily, sweetheart, I need you to listen to Mommy very carefully. Do you remember what I used to tell you about being brave? Lily nods. You said being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means doing the right thing even when you are scared. That's right, baby. And right now, the brave thing, the right thing, is to let go of that box. Even if it means we can't be together. Tears begin to fall down Lily's cheeks, but her grip on the device remains firm. But Mommy, I missed you so much. 13 years is such a long time to wait. Elena kneels closer, her voice gentle but urgent. Lily, your mommy loves you so much that she's willing to let you go to keep you safe. That's what real love does. It protects the people we care about, even when it hurts. Around them, the terminal begins to shake as the supernatural forces strain against the barriers between dimensions. The ghost planes are lining up for takeoff, their engines creating a harmonious roar that sounds like the universe itself preparing. To tear, Torres appears at the gate desk, his form now clearly revealed as something inhuman wearing human shape. Enough sentiment, he snarls. The child will maintain her grip on the device, or I will ensure her mother suffers for eternity. But Lily stands up, the device still in her hands, and faces Torres with the fearless directness that only children possess. You're a liar, Uncle Ray. You said Daddy would be safe if I held your box. You said Mommy and I could be together. But you were just using us. Elena's heart races as she sees the determination building in the little girl's eyes. This is the moment, the choice between love and freedom that Detective Reeves spoke of. Torres's scarred hands begin to glow with malevolent energy. Put the device down, child, and I will show you what real suffering looks like. But Sandra, using the last of her fading strength, steps between Torres and her daughter. You want to hurt someone, hurt me, but you leave my little girl alone. The confrontation hangs in the balance, supernatural forces poised on the edge of cosmic violence, as an 8-year-old girl holds the fate of countless souls in her small trembling hands. The terminal erupts in chaos as Torres unleashes his supernatural fury. Dark energy crackles from his scarred hands, striking Sandra and sending her flying across the departure lounge. Her translucent form hits the window with a sound like breaking glass, and Elena watches in horror as Sandra's essence begins to fragment and scatter. "Mommy!" Lily screams, her grip on the device loosening for the first time in 13 years. The moment her fingers relax, every electronic system in Terminal D goes haywire. Departure boards flicker between decades of flight information, PA speakers emit piercing feedback, and the ghost planes on the tarmac shudder as if reality itself is questioning their existence. Elena rushes to Sandra's side, but her hands pass through the woman's fading form. Sandra looks up at her daughter with eyes that are already beginning to lose focus. "Lily, baby," Sandra whispers, her voice echoing as if from a great distance. "Remember what Mommy taught you about letting go, sometimes. Sometimes loving someone means setting them free." Torres advances on Lily, his human disguise falling away to reveal something ancient and terrible. His skin becomes shadow, his eyes burn with starlight, and when he speaks, his voice carries the weight of cosmic malevolence. "Foolish child. You think your mother's sentiment matters in the face of forces that predate your entire species? The harvest has been planned for millennia. But Lily doesn't retreat. Instead, she holds the device higher, and Elena realizes the little girl has made her choice. "I'm not foolish," Lily says, her young voice carrying power that makes the terminal walls tremble. "I'm 8 years old, and I've been holding this stupid box for 13 years because I was scared of being alone. But I'm not alone anymore." Elena looks around and sees that Lily is right. The passengers from Flight 447 have gathered around the little girl. Captain Morrison stepping out of the cockpit where he's been trapped, Marcus Chun breaking free from his supernatural bonds, even the other children from the flight forming a protective circle around Lily. Through her radio, Elena hears Rodriguez's urgent voice. "Elena, the families outside are collapsing. Every person who's ever lost someone to a mysterious disappearance is experiencing some kind of psychic backlash. We need to end this now." Torres raises his shadow-wreathed hands, preparing to strike Lily directly, but Captain Morrison steps between them. "Torres, your business was with me. I was the pilot. I was responsible for these passengers' safety. Leave the child alone." "You had your chance to cooperate, Morrison," Torres snarls. "Now you'll watch as I drain every soul in this terminal to power the final harvest." Elena's phone buzzes with a message from Detective Reeves. "Elena, the device responds to sacrifice. Someone who's already dead must willingly take it from Lily and destroy it, but the destruction will consume whoever holds it." Elena looks at the message, then at the circle of Flight 447 passengers protecting Lily. She realizes they all understand what needs to happen. Marcus Chun steps forward, his expression filled with 13 years of accumulated regret. "Lily, Daddy made a terrible mistake. I trusted Uncle Ray because I was scared of losing you, but I ended up losing you anyway. Let me fix this." Lily looks at her father with eyes that hold far too much wisdom for her age. "Daddy, if you take the box, what happens to you?" Marcus kneels beside his daughter, his ghostly form flickering with determination. "I don't know, sweetheart. But I know that keeping you trapped here isn't protecting you. It's hurting you. And I'd rather disappear forever than watch you suffer for one more day." Elena's radio explodes with chatter as airports around the world report simultaneous supernatural phenomena. The harvest isn't limited to LAX, it's a global operation spanning decades of mysterious disappearances. Torres's form expands, filling the terminal with shadow and malice. "Enough! The harvest will proceed whether you cooperate or not. I have thousands of souls at my disposal, and more arriving every moment." But as Torres speaks, Elena notices something that gives her hope. The ghost planes on the tarmac aren't taking off, they're waiting. Their passengers, souls from decades of missing flights, are refusing to board. Elena keys her radio. "Rodriguez, I need you to broadcast a message. On all emergency frequencies. Tell every family member of every missing person to come to their nearest airport. Tell them to speak their loved ones' names aloud. The souls are trapped, but they're not powerless." Through the terminal windows, Elena can see crowds gathering at airports around the world, families of the missing, calling out names that haven't been spoken in years, decades. The supernatural network that Torres has built is strong, but it's not stronger than the collective love of everyone who's ever lost someone to the unexplained. Captain Morrison approaches Lily, his pilot's uniform gleaming with spectral authority. "Lily, your father is right. But this isn't just about one man's mistake. Every soul on Flight 447 made choices that led us here. We all bear responsibility, and we should all share in the solution." Elena watches as the Flight 447 passengers join hands around Lily, their combined will creating a barrier of light that makes Torres recoil. But she knows it won't be enough. The device requires a single sacrifice. One soul willing to pay the ultimate price for everyone else's freedom. "I'll do it," Elena says suddenly, stepping forward. "I'm still alive. If I take the device and destroy it—" "No," Lily interrupts, her voice carrying surprising authority. "Miss Elena, you don't understand. The box doesn't want someone who's alive. It wants someone who chose to die for love." Elena's heart stops as she realizes what Lily means. The device isn't just a soul harvester, it's powered by sacrifice. By the willing surrender of life for something greater than oneself. Sandra's fading voice carries across the terminal. "Lily, baby, Mommy's already dying. Let me do this one last thing for you." But Lily shakes her head, tears streaming down her cheeks as she makes the hardest decision any child should ever have. To face, "No, Mommy, you've already sacrificed enough. You've been dying inside for 13 years because of me." Elena watches in amazement as Lily walks toward the gate windows, the device glowing brighter with each step. Outside, the ghost planes wait in perfect formation. Their passengers, souls from a century of mysterious disappearances, watching a little girl prepare to save them all. "Uncle Ray," Lily says, turning to face Torres one final time. "You were wrong about one thing. Love isn't weakness. Love is the strongest force in any universe." And with that, Lily Chun raises the soul-harvesting device above her head and brings it down with all the strength an 8-year-old girl can muster, shattering it against the terminal floor. The device explodes in a cascade of light that transcends the visible spectrum, painting the terminal in colors that have no names. Elena shields her eyes as the shockwave of pure energy ripples outward, carrying with it the accumulated power of 13 years of trapped souls. Torres screams, a sound that resonates across dimensions, the death cry of a cosmic parasite being torn from its host. His shadow form begins to unravel, darkness peeling away like burning paper to reveal something small and pitiful underneath. Without the stolen life force of countless souls, he's nothing more than a withered husk, collapsing to the terminal floor as his millennia of power drain away. But Elena barely notices Teresa's destruction. Her attention is fixed on Lily, who stands at the center of the expanding light, no longer translucent but glowing with an inner radiance that makes her look like an angel. "Lily," Sandra struggles to her feet, her own form solidifying as the supernatural drain on her life force ends. "Baby, are you all right?" Lily turns to her mother with a smile that holds all the joy and innocence that 13 years of supernatural bondage couldn't destroy. "I'm okay, Mommy. I'm finally okay." Around them, the Flight 447 passengers begin to change. Captain Morrison's uniform brightens from ghostly gray to brilliant white. Marcus Chun's face loses the haggard desperation that has marked it for over a decade, replaced by peaceful acceptance. One by one, The souls of the missing passengers take on the same radiant quality as Lily. Elena's radio crackles with reports from around the world. Elena, the phenomena are ending everywhere. Ghost planes are disappearing. Power grids are stabilizing. And the missing persons' families are reporting. Well, they're reporting closure, like a weight has been lifted. Through the terminal windows, Elena watches the ghost planes begin to fade. But their passengers aren't disappearing, they're ascending, their forms becoming light as they finally complete the journey that was interrupted decades ago. Ships from the Bermuda Triangle rise from invisible waters, their crews waving goodbye. As they sail into skies that welcome them home, Detective Reeves' voice comes through Elena's radio. Elena, the temporal distortions are normalizing. Whatever that device was doing to keep souls trapped between dimensions, it's over. They're free to move on. But Elena notices that the Flight 447 passengers aren't ascending like the others. They remain in the terminal solid and present, watching the liberation of souls from across history with expressions of quiet satisfaction. "Why aren't you leaving?" Elena asks Captain Morrison. The pilot adjusts his cap with hands that are fully corporeal now. "Because our work isn't finished, Ms. Vasquez. The device is destroyed, yes, but there are still families who need answers. People who have spent years wondering what happened to their loved ones." Marcus Chun steps forward, holding documents that are no longer supernatural contracts but simple, honest records. Torres kept detailed files on every operation. Flight numbers, passenger lists, the real reasons behind each disappearance. The families deserve to know the truth. Elena looks at the papers, seeing decades of cover-ups and manufactured accidents revealed in Torres's meticulous handwriting. This evidence could reopen hundreds of cases. "That's why we're staying," Lily says, taking her father's hand. "Just for a little while longer. To make sure everyone gets the answers they need." Sandra kneels beside her daughter, and for the first time in 13 years, she can hold Lily without fear of losing her. "But honey, don't you want to? To go? To heaven? To be at peace?" Lily considers this with the serious expression she's worn since becoming the guardian of impossible responsibilities. "Mommy, I think helping people find peace is how we get to peace ourselves." Elena's phone rings. The caller ID shows numbers from around the world, families of missing persons, who are finally getting the calls they've waited decades to receive. As she watches, each Flight 447 passenger produces their own phone, reaching out to loved ones they haven't spoken to since the day their plane disappeared. Through her earpiece, Elena can hear fragments of conversations that are happening simultaneously across the globe. "Mom? It's Jennifer. I know you thought I was dead, but I wanted you to know I'm okay now. Sarah, it's Dad. I'm so sorry I missed your wedding, sweetheart. Tell me about your children. This is Captain Morrison. I need to speak with the families of my passengers. There are things you need to know." Elena steps back, allowing the passengers their reunions while she processes the magnitude of what she's witnessing. 13 years of supernatural imprisonment has ended not with cosmic battles or divine intervention, but with a little girl's decision to choose love over fear. Her radio crackles with Rodriguez's voice. "Elena, we're getting reports of spontaneous memorial services at airports worldwide. Families are gathering, but they're not mourning anymore. They're celebrating. It's like the whole world just exhaled after holding its breath for decades." Elena walks to the terminal windows and looks out at LAX, where crowds have gathered in the pre-dawn darkness. Families hold candles, photos of missing loved ones, and signs bearing names that represent decades of unsolved mysteries. But their faces show peace instead of anguish, closure instead of desperate hope. "Ms. Vasquez," Captain Morrison approaches, his voice carrying the authority of someone who has finally fulfilled his duty to his passengers. "There's something else you need to know. The device Torres used, it wasn't unique. His masters have been harvesting souls for millennia across cultures and dimensions. Flight 447 was just one operation in a cosmic network. Elena turns from the window, her investigative instincts sharpening. Are you saying there are more devices out there? More trapped souls? Marcus Chin nods grimly. Torres's files show operations dating back to the beginning of recorded history. Missing caravans in ancient trade routes, lost expeditions in uncharted territories, ghost ships that sail between worlds. The harvest spans all of human history. Elena feels the weight of this revelation settling on her shoulders. Solving the Flight 447 mystery isn't the end of her investigation. It's the beginning of something much larger. But then Lily appears at her side, taking Elena's hand with the casual trust that only children possess. Don't worry, Miss Elena. You're not going to do this alone. We'll help you find them all. Every soul that's still trapped. Every family that's still waiting. That's our job now. Elena looks down at the little girl who has shown more courage than most adults could imagine. Then at the Flight 447 passengers who have chosen to delay their eternal rest to help others find peace. How long do you think it will take? Elena asks. Captain Morrison checks his watch, a timepiece that now shows not just hours and minutes, but the cosmic rhythm of souls finding their way home. As long as it takes, Ms. Vasquez, as long as it takes. 6 months later, Elena stands in the renovated Terminal D, which has been transformed from an abandoned relic into the headquarters of the Missing Souls Investigation Unit. The walls that once pulsed with supernatural energy now hold charts, photographs, and case files representing centuries of unexplained disappearances. What was once Gate 47 has become a memorial garden where families can visit, speak with their lost loved ones, and finally find the closure that has eluded them for generations. The Flight 447 passengers have kept their promise. Captain Morrison runs flight simulations that help identify patterns in mysterious aviation disappearances. Marcus Chen has become the unit's financial investigator, tracking the economic networks that supernatural entities use to manipulate human events. And Lily ... Lily has become something unprecedented, a child consultant who can communicate with trapped souls across time and space. Elena watches through her office window as Lily works with a new family, the Hendersons, whose teenage son vanished during a school camping trip in 1987. The boy's spirit materiates in the memorial garden, visible only to other souls and those who have learned to see beyond the veil. Lily translates his words for his parents, explaining how he became lost in a dimensional fold, while trying to help other missing hikers find their way home. He says he's been helping lost children for 36 years, Lily reports to the tearful parents. He wants you to know he's not scared anymore, and he's proud of the work he's been doing. Elena's assistant, Rodriguez, who transferred to the unit after the LAX incident, appears in her doorway with a thick file. Elena, we just got confirmation on the Bermuda Triangle operation. 17 ships, 43 aircraft, and over 2,000 souls freed from a harvesting station that had been operating since 1492. Elena takes the file, scanning reports from Coast Guard units worldwide. The supernatural network that Torres served has been vast beyond imagination, with harvesting operations on every continent and in every historical era. But they're making progress. Each freed soul becomes an ally in the investigation, helping to locate other trapped spirits and expose the cosmic conspiracy that has fed on human tragedy for millennia. Any word from the European team? Elena asks. They found the source of the dancing plague of 1518, Rodriguez reports. Turns out it wasn't mass hysteria. It was a soul harvesting ritual that trapped an entire village in a supernatural loop. The team freed over 400 people yesterday. Elena nods, making notes in her case log. The work never ends, but it also never feels hopeless. Each victory, each family reunited with their lost loved ones, each soul set free to continue their cosmic journey, adds to the growing light that pushes back against centuries of supernatural exploitation. Her phone buzzes with a text from Sandra. Chun, Lily's birthday party is tomorrow. Can you make it? P.S. She specifically asked for airport cake. Elena smiles, remembering the little girl who held impossible responsibility for 13 years and chose love over fear. Sandra has become the unit's family liaison, helping relatives of the missing understand what their loved ones have experienced. The relationship between mother and daughter has healed in ways that transcend the supernatural circumstances of their reunion. A knock at Elena's door interrupts her thoughts. Captain Morrison enters, his pilot's uniform exchanged for the simple clothes of someone finally at peace. Elena, I wanted to let you know, we've located the final member of Torres's network, an entity that's been operating out of the Sahara Desert since ancient times, trapping souls from missing caravans. Elena looks up from her files. That's wonderful news. When do we move? Morrison's expression grows gentle. We don't. This is where the Flight 447 passengers say goodbye. Elena feels her heart clench. She's known this day would come, the moment when the souls who chose to delay their eternal rest would finally move on. But knowing doesn't make it easier. All of you? All of us, Marcus Chun confirms, appearing in the doorway beside Morrison. The cosmic balance has been restored. The harvesting network has been dismantled. The families have their answers. It's time for us to complete our journey. Elena walks to the memorial garden, where the Flight 447 passengers have gathered for their final goodbye. The late afternoon. Sun streams through the windows, casting long shadows that seem to reach toward dimensions beyond the visible world. Lily runs to Elena and hugs her tightly. Don't be sad, Miss Elena. We're not really leaving. Every time you help a lost soul find their way home, we'll be there too. Sandra stands nearby, tears streaming down her face but smiling through her grief. Thank you, she says to Elena, for giving me the chance to be Lily's mother again, even if it was just for a little while. Elena kneels beside Lily, this extraordinary child who has taught her that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing love despite fear. I'm going to miss you, sweetheart. I'll miss you too, Lily replies. But Miss Elena? Promise me you'll keep helping the lost ones find their way home. Promise me you won't give up even when it gets scary. Elena takes the little girl's hands, hands that once held a device capable of trapping souls across dimensions, hands that chose to destroy it rather than use it for selfish purposes. I promise. The Flight 447 passengers begin to glow with the same radiant light that filled Terminal D 6 months ago. One by one, they embrace Elena, Rodriguez, Sandra, and the other unit members who have become their extended family. Captain Morrison is the last to approach Elena. Ms. Vasquez, the work you're doing here, it's changing the fundamental nature of how souls transition between worlds. You're not just solving missing persons cases. You're healing cosmic wounds that have festered for millennia. Elena watches as the passengers join hands, their forms becoming increasingly luminous. Will I see you again? Morrison smiles with the peace of someone who has finally completed his duty to his passengers. Every time you help someone find their way home, you'll see us. We'll be in every moment of reunion, every family that finds closure, every soul that chooses love over fear. The light intensifies, filling the memorial garden with warmth that transcends physical sensation. Elena feels tears streaming down her face as she watches 37 souls finally complete the journey that was interrupted 13 years ago. But as the light fades and the passengers ascend to whatever realm awaits them, Elena realizes she's not sad, she's grateful. Grateful for the privilege of witnessing such extraordinary love. Grateful for the chance to help heal wounds that span generations. grateful to be part of something larger than herself. Her phone buzzes with reports from around the world. More missing persons cases solved, more families reunited, more souls freed from supernatural bondage. The work continues, but now Elena knows she's not doing it alone. Every soul that chooses love over fear, every family that finds closure, every mystery solved adds to the growing network of light that protects the boundary between worlds. Elena looks up at the sky where Flight 447's passengers have vanished into whatever comes after this life, and whispers, "Thank you for showing me what it means to come home." As the sun sets over Lax, casting long shadows across the runways, where ghost planes once waited for passengers who could never board, Elena returns to her office. There are files to review, families to contact, and mysteries that span centuries still waiting to be solved. But for the first time in her career, Elena Vasquez isn't investigating disappearances. She's facilitating homecomings, and in a universe where love proves stronger than fear, where children can choose courage over comfort, and where even death cannot break the bonds between souls, that makes all the difference. The boarding pass that started it all, the impossible ticket that printed 13 years after Flight 447's scheduled departure, sits framed on Elena's wall, not as evidence of the supernatural, but as a reminder that sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't about what we've lost, but about what we're willing to do to help others find their way home. And in Terminal D, where impossible things once trapped souls between worlds, the memorial garden blooms with flowers that shouldn't grow in airport soil, tended by the love of families who finally understand that coming home isn't about returning to where you came from. It's about finding peace wherever your journey ends.